got a lot of crochet projects on the go, and I think it's time to clear the decks. Hello, welcome back to the Crochet Cakes YouTube channel. I hope that you're doing well. It's the season of regrowth, rejuvenation, planting seeds, greenery, and the birds have been singing signs of spring for a while. And I just don't want to go into a new season feeling overwhelmed with work. So I thought that we could have ourselves a little bit of a crafternoon. I thought that we would sit down and have a vlog podcast style video together where I sit down, crochet, and you crochet, and there's a little timer up here that will let us know when it is time to stop crocheting. Now, usually I crochet for 45 minutes because that is the amount of time that I can crochet without pain. And actually, strictly speaking, I should be wearing a compression glove. Alas, I cannot find it. Storage issues aside, I thought that I would briefly introduce some of the projects that I wanted to work on with you. Strictly speaking, these are not the only crochet projects I have on the go. These are just the ones that have been on the go the longest, or close to finishing, but I haven't actually progressed to the finish line for some reason or another. Now, in this basket of crochet goodies, what should we start with? Why don't we start with the crochet oven mitt? So for this oven mitt, as you can see, I just need to weave in some ends, and also I want to line it, and I actually have the lining fabric picked out. I'm just curious as to why it is not here. Anyway, next to that, we have our Granny Crew light sweater. If you watch the Granny Crew tutorial series, this is a fingering weight version of that sweater. In front of these two items, we have a gorgeous skein of yarn. This one is Barocco Vintage DK, and it is for a green sweater that I've been wanting to finish forever and work up in forever as well. I started working it up last year, and I honestly thought that by this time it'd be completely finished. Alas, it is not. So I do want to get on that with you. Also, behind that, we have like this little snake-looking crochet item. That is all that I've worked up of the page turner wrap because I got distracted. So if you watch my Tunisian crochet vlog, you will know that that Tunisian top is not the only one that I cast on when I wanted to work through some pretty big feelings of not feeling enough. And I decided that I needed a simple 2-row repeat, something that I could use stash with and that I could wrap myself up in all the positivity I was stitching into the garment. So I decided to make a wrap. That one I'm calling the You Are Enough wrap, and I decided to actually write it up as a pattern because I thought, you know, I'm definitely not the only human that is going through big feelings and working those up. So we need to stick together and stitch some joy into our lives. And I thought, what better way to do that than process feelings through crochet? I hope that made sense. It made sense in my head. Anyway, all these projects aside, why don't we begin with the Granny Crew light sweater? Now, I'm going to pause, put the microphone on my pinafore so that I can move. Hopefully we still have good audio quality because I've been having issues. Like, I've had to sit down to record multiple times in one day just because I keep taking the audio to my computer and it's not good enough. And I hope that I'm in focus. Am I in focus? I hope I'm in focus because my camera has also been having focus issues. Anyway, the Granny Crew light sweater. As the name would suggest, this is a fingering weight version of the Granny Crew sweater, which was worked up in DK weight yarn. Well, this one, as I just said, we're working up with fingering weight yarn. So that is number one difference. Number two, we're going to be using a 4mm hook to work up this sweater because I hear you. Working up a sweater with anything below a 3.5mm hook is a challenge. Now I've done it. The Chasing Rabbits top works up with a 2.75mm crochet hook because that is the kind of fabric and drape I wanted to create. But for this one, we're keeping things simple, okay? We're using fingering weight yarn with a 4mm crochet hook. Now, what changes can you expect in this fingering weight version? We need to work up some more rounds, of course, because in order to achieve the same dimensions, we need to add more rounds. We can also expect more rows around the neckline, as well as some short rows at the back of the neck, so that our crew neck sweater sits very nicely. And the most obvious change of all is that for this Granny Crew light sweater, we are going to be working up bell sleeves. I am so flippin' excited about these bell sleeves. The drama. Now, granted, I could have made them a lot more exaggerated by increasing more stitches in every increase round, and you can do that if you want. And I'm quite happy with the drama of these sleeves. They say, hello, I am here. So for today, I actually just have to work up on our other Granny Crew sleeve. It might be a bit ambitious to state that I want to finish the bell sleeve because, as you know, the more stitches you're adding, the longer it's going to take. And for reference, this whole bell sleeve took 30 grams. Like the whole crocheting of the sleeve took 30. No, what am I talking about 30 grams? I had 30 grams left over, which means it took 70 grams just for the sleeve. So, you know, drama is costly. Okay, before we can actually get into crocheting this Granny Crew light sweater, I need to find the crochet hook. I need to find my trusty 4mm crochet hook for that. So, oh, wait, before that, the yarn. I did mention it was fingering weight yarn, and I chose what I like to think is a pretty affordable yarn for this project because it is Mighty Stitch from We Crochet. It is 80% acrylic, 20% wool, very soft, lovely and beautiful. I actually feel that the acrylic wool mix in this yarn is much lovelier than in the Heatherly yarn because Heatherly is also 80-20, but this one just feels a lot better. And I'm using cream because I don't look good in super bright white, but I wanted something very neutral. Right, that's the yarn. Let's go find the crochet hook. I don't think we're going to be able to. It's not going to be that easy because I can't find the crochet hook. And I know you might be saying, don't you have other 4mm crochet hooks that you could use? Yes, I do. But then the gauge would be completely different, and we're trying to be professional here. Oh, and just in case I didn't mention it, it's the 4mm Red Odyssey crochet hook. So let me bring this cart closer to you and you can help me look, okay? Okay. You know, that's one good thing about having my furls crochet hooks all in different colors is that I can already tell just by looking here that none of these are the 4mm. If you were a 4mm crochet hook, where would you be hiding? This is why we keep stuff in project bags. Okay, we found it. It was in my bedroom. This black one here is the first proper increase that we're going to be repeating. I should probably get some numbers. It would be so much easier if I had like little numbers, 1, 2, 3 to mark the increases. Right, okay, so this is the first proper increase here. Then we do I'm very professional. Okay, we have our timer. Hopefully I figured out how to put it on the screen. Now you've seen the chaos in which I constantly operate, so why don't you soothe my nerves by telling me what crochet project you decided to work on? Okay, as you saw, pardon me, as you saw, the 45 minutes are up. So what did we manage to crochet in 45 minutes? As I originally thought, it was extra ambitious of me to think that I would be able to finish a bell sleeve in 45 minutes. But, ooh, we did manage. 1, 2, 3, we did manage to complete 10 rounds, and we started on the 11th. So you can see the bell sleeve starting to take shape. And oh, I don't know. I find bell sleeves so exciting. I don't know what it is about them that I absolutely love making them. I think that's one of the reasons why I love making the Love Magic sweater, even though I've actually only completed the bell sleeves once. Anyway, those 45 minutes are up, as I said, so it is time for us to actually stand up, stretch, go to the bathroom, change our activity. As for me, I'm actually going to stop here with my crochet work for this vlog, and I will meet you back here tomorrow to pick up another project. Now, where in this mess do I have the fabric that I think goes with the oven mitt? Did I put it here because it's more than 3 yards? La-di-da. Oh, it is here. Now, tell me, don't you think this super whimsical fabric is gonna look so lovely with the whimsical oven mitts? Now, of course, I had a template prepared for my oven mitt because I've made several of these, but if this is your first time making the oven mitt, then I just simply lay down my crochet and I trace around it. Then I add a 1/2 inch seam allowance. And after I add that 1/2 inch seam allowance, I cut. Now, for this thermal oven mitt, I did debate on whether or not to add some quilting because the thermal stitches are very thick, but the quilting will help protect my thumb and fingers at the seam because that is where most of the heat actually seeps through. And you know what? Now that I mention the thermal stitch and the oven mitt, why don't I actually talk to you a little bit about my oven mitt? So, this oven mitt is a design that I made 2 years ago, I think, and it uses the thermal stitch. We increase in the thermal stitch and we decrease in the thermal stitch. Now, of course, because we're using this for our kitchen, I actually prefer my fiber to be 100% cotton or, a high cotton blend. So sometimes I use Premier, which is like, I think 70% cotton, 30% polyester. That one works up okay. I definitely love using drops in their Aran cotton. That one is beautiful to make up an oven mitt. And of course, Lily Sugar and Cream, or is it Peaches and Cream? That one is my absolute favorite to work up the oven mitt. Now for this one, I tried using We Crochet's Dishy, and I did that because in the pattern I had mentioned that Dishy was a possibility of a 100% cotton yarn to use if you wanted to, and while 100% you can if you want, it does require some adjustments for the pattern. Dishy is a lot thinner than Peaches and Cream, so I did have to crochet more rows and actually add more stitches so that I would have the same width of indicated in the pattern. So if you're curious about any of these changes that I made, I will link the blog post where I talked about that in the description box below.
So the sewing was okay. Let's see how it fits into the oven mitt to see if I have to take my seam more, and then we just have to weave in the ends. That is a perfect fit, if I do say so myself. So now all we have left to do is to fold this under, like so, and seam it to the mitt, hand sew to the mitt. And for that, I definitely need my compression glove. I won't be able to sew without it. The 45 minutes were up just as I was starting to hand sew the rim. So I think what I'm going to do is actually push it to 60 minutes, and I think those 15 minutes will be enough to sew this. So let's do an extra 15 minutes together, and then I will see you back here. One hour precisely is what we needed to complete our crochet oven mitt. I am so happy. This one is finally complete. Oh, now that I say that, I didn't crochet a handle. I guess it's one more thing to add to my to-do list now. But for the most part, what I set out to do is complete. Now I need to stretch my hands. Ooh.
It's a fantastically dreary day today. It's been gloomy and rainy all day. And while I normally would take this opportunity to take you guys and crochet outside, it's also very windy. So the rain is actually just all over the back porch and everything's wet. But as I said, it is perfect weather for some crochet. And today we are going to crochet for our 45 minutes on the page turner wrap. Now, hopefully these 45 minutes will be enough to completely use up the one skein that I have so that we can finish our center braid cable, our center cable. And this is what I have left of the initial center cable that I frogged back because I liked this one better. Not that you can really tell because it's curling up all wibbly wobbly. But where, at least with this stitch repeat, it's easy enough to determine where I am and where I left off, unlike with all the other projects that I've been working on. I know we're technically not in the same room, but I always feel such a sense of community when I film these videos and sit down to crochet and chat to you because, yeah, it's just technically, well, we're all in this earth, right? And some of us are even in the same hemisphere. So there is that little bit of connection there. And I just like to feel that we are deepening it when we are doing something together, me here on camera, you in your space. I don't know if that made any sense, but I've definitely gotten more philosophical in my 30s as, you know, I move forward on accepting who I am and trying to soothe the parts of me that I am not 100% happy or no longer serve, you know? So just gotten more philosophical. Oh my goodness. I forgot to start our timer. Okay, we've been talking for 3 minutes. So, I'm going to put a timer for 42 minutes and the clock starts now. I know I called this the page turner wrap, but I've recently, or not so recently, ever since I started this third sample, I should say, I changed the name to Katabasis. Katabasis is also the title of a book where two magicians travel to hell in an effort to exchange something for their professor's soul. And crocheting on this center cable for the wrap just kind of really reminded me of their bit of a hyperbolic journey through hell. And I just thought it was really, really fun that I'd inadvertently created a design that reminded me of a book before I read the book. Anyway, for this wrap, katabasis wrap, we are going to be using sport weight yarn. I bought 3 hanks of yarn at the Sunshine Festival, so I really hope that's enough yarn. And then we're going to be using a 4mm crochet hook. Now, the initial effort to get length is significant, but I do think it's a type of project that while it may take you a while to work up, it doesn't require a lot of brain power, so you can really get into the flow of the patterns. Okay, so we didn't actually get to complete that one skein of yarn that I wanted to complete, but I think there was some good progress, and at least we are closer to actually getting to work on the sides of the wrap, because definitely it needs to be longer. Otherwise, we just have a scarf. Good morning. How are you doing today? This is my third cup of tea. And you know what? I realized that it might not be morning when you're watching this. So, whatever time of day it is when you're watching this, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is a new mug, and I did not need a new mug. But this mug says, a hug is always the right size. And that made me tear up at Marshall's, at Home Goods. And I had to get it because feelings, you know. I imagine the tea does feel like a hug whenever I drink from this. Too hot, too hot. Okay. Too hot. Right. I want to thank you for coming along on this little crafternoon journey with me. And before we part ways, I want to ask what you thought about it. Do you enjoy this type of podcasting format? Is there anything you would like me to add to this type of, crafting together format? I know that I said I was going to talk you through the projects before working on them. And I realized as I'm editing the footage that I only did that for the Granny Crew light sweater. So I'll be inserting voiceover so that we can talk over what the other projects were in terms of materials, any edits that I did for that, anything like that. But yeah, mostly I just want to thank you for being here. I hope this was a productive crafternoon for you and that you enjoyed sitting down and crafting with me as much as I enjoyed sitting down and crafting with you. Because I have to say, I missed it. I miss just chatting to you about what we're up to. I know that that's not necessarily why everyone visits this channel, but that's okay. You don't need to stay and watch every video. I still appreciate you even if you come and you watch a video a month, a video a year, or if you're just here for tutorials. I also just greatly appreciate you finding your way to any of my videos. So with that, I am going to wait until my tea is a slurpable temperature, and I'm going to bid you fare thee well. Until next we meet, do please let me know if you liked this format. I'm very excited to continue them at least once a month, if you do like them. Okay, I will catch you in the next video. Bye! Still too hot. I burned my whole mouth.